Hey there. If you are going to be buying The Wind Through the Keyhole or any of the other upcoming books, consider going to Duckfeed.tv/tipjar. If you use the links there, you will go to Amazon.com, but it's a special version of Amazon where you buy everything at the same price, but we at the network and the show get a small cut of the proceeds of whatever you buy. It's a way for you to help the network without spending an extra dime. It's a way to help us by following along with the show. Once again, that is Duckfeed.tv/tipjar. Thank you. Welcome to Radio Free Midworld, a podcast about the Dark Tower series of books. My name is Cole Ross, and today I am joined by Murph Murphy. Hi, Murph.
Hi, Cole. How's it going?
It's going just fine. I'm really happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Comic books. All right.
Comics, yes.
Yeah.
This week we are starting what I'm calling the Young Roland season, which is the continuing adventures of Flashback Roland after the incident in Hambry, by talking about the Dark Tower comics. We have two trade paperbacks that we're going to be talking about today, The Long Road Home and Treachery. These were published by Marvel between March 2008 and February 2009, well after the main series ended.
Yeah, you could kind of tell that these comic books very much trade on the nostalgia and knowing some things. As someone who was not reading ahead, I was like, oh, well, I guess you just had the curtain lifted on some Varsity Dark Tower concepts. Yeah, I was like, oh, so they're really good. Oh, all right. Hi, Crimson King. Oh, you're one of those? Okay, very good.
What are you doing outside of Insomnia, you little scamp?
Yeah. This very much is, and I think I've said this before, I like the Dark Tower when it's in its kind of weird west and kind of very deep in its kind of mythos. And this is pretty much exactly there. Like,
right. It mainlines it for you.
To make it a gunslinger term, it's a bullseye. Finger guns.
Yeah. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you said finger guns. Just like I will say, quote unquote, finger quote, quote unquote. Yes. So, given that you haven't finished the series, what made you hop on to talk about the comics? Why are you here, Murph?
I like comic books.
Yeah.
I think so. One of the best purchases that I made, I think 2 years ago, was the Marvel Now app.
Okay.
Which I'll plug right now, which is like all of Marvel's comics from, well, not all, but like a majority of Marvel's comics from the 60s till I think they do a 6-month cutoff. Okay. So anything that older than 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So over the past 2 years, I started it, I think, in 95. And then I was just like, I'm going to read everything I find interesting from then till now.
Yeah.
And I'm still in 2016, kind of working my way to contemporary.
Yeah.
But it is a tremendous value for anyone who enjoys comics. So we're reading these books with all their words, and then Cole offered me, hey, I got some pictures you can look at.
And you decided, I want a piece of that. Are the Dark Tower books in Marvel now?
They are not. I had to actually go on Kindle and buy it there,
right, for
an incredibly reasonable price. But
yeah,
the format is familiar, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm going to go see if I didn't just waste $5.
6 months is really generous. So basically, like, if you are trying to stay current, it's basically the equivalent of trade waiting.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I think it's roughly $25 a year. Like, this is if you just want to just read some comics whenever you're a little bit bored, like I occasionally am. It's pretty great.
Yeah, this is not a paid endorsement. You are just you're just advocating for this as part of your love for comics.
Right. Yeah. Like I honestly wish that that DC had an equivalent kind of program, but they don't.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm a Marvel guy anyway. Yay, X-Men.
Yep. That's that is the right answer, insofar as there is a right answer. Yeah. Cool.
Do we want to talk about some of the authors? Because I also found out that the person who did the scripting on this book, Peter David, did one of my favorite runs on X Factor.
Oh yeah,
the 2005 with basically, mutants with as a detective agency. Yes, it's Multiple Man. Gosh, is it eponymously named Strong Guy?
I don't know.
Oh, he's
he wandered out of my comics wheelhouse.
His name is Strong Guy, and if you can guess what his powers is, I'll give you a lollipop.
He is a Charles Xavier-esque telepath.
Yes. He is bald, so
okay. So that's how I got tripped up.
He's big, strong, and English.
Yeah. Let's talk about the personnel on this, because this is our introduction to somebody who is pretty important to the overall orbit of the Dark Tower. Robin Firth is kind of the primary creative mind behind this, with Stephen King kind of acting as executive producer and creative director, meaning that everything that is in here, while possibly not canonical to the version of the story that we get in the books, at least has his sign off and blessing. The
Silmarillion for the token, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So Firth was Stephen King's personal research assistant for several years. She, prior to this, basically was a Dark Tower superfan who started putting together these things called the Dark Tower Concordances. I've referenced these books several times, and they act like encyclopedias for names, places, concepts, even the language of the Dark Tower. And through doing this, she kind of became King's resource for like, okay, will doing this break continuity, or is there somebody I can bring back to accomplish this particular thing? Right.
Wow.
To help him keep the details straight.
That it's like a Wikipedia editor, but before, or Wikia, I guess.
Yeah. In today's day and age, she would have worked at Fandom.
Yep.
Yeah, but she was kind of promoted to say like, hey, we want to do these comic books. The first one, which is A Gunslinger Born, kind of takes the flashbacks from books 1 and 4 and does a really literal retelling. Like, let's do that. And then if that sells, what we can do is just kind of extend and flesh out the parts of the story that are not covered by the main books. And so Firth was kind of brought in to help fill those things out. Down at the kind of more panel-to-panel, day-to-day level, we had that writer that you alluded to, Peter David, who was a kind of a longtime Marvel writer, did The Incredible Hulk, like you said, did X Factor, doing that. Is there something that in particular that kind of like works for you about Peter David's kind of scripting? Can you like tell when you're reading something of his?
I I wish I was like that much of a comic nerd, so I can't say that, but I think the characterization of the people in the X Factor series, they're very powerful, but also very human. Mm-hmm. I'm like so Madrox, or AKA the Multiple Man. He makes multiple copies of himself, but also is constantly sort of filled with this self-doubt. He messes up. His characters aren't Supermen. Mm-hmm. They're very much I guess I got these superpowers, but I still have to pay the rent. Yeah. And like deal with, interpersonal issues with my coworkers, and just those coworkers can rip a car in half.
Yeah. Just so happens to be that they can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other kind of part of this, the artistic part, and this is, I'll introduce them and I'll talk about it. The lines and inking were done by Jay Lee, and the coloring was done by Richard Isanov. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Right.
I don't care for the art in this, Murph.
It grows on me, but yeah. It is not my favorite.
I find it is a kind of coloring that I really don't enjoy, kind of the overly gradiented, just like it's hard to scan for me.
Yes.
And the action, it's again continues to be hard to read. Like, what exactly is happening in these frames? There's very little sense of like momentum to what's going on. So when it's doing something besides people just talking, it's like, okay, I need to spend more time looking at it and interpreting than I otherwise would.
This is so my I'm going to get critical here. My least favorite part of these books is like when you read a good Marvel comic, the action happens between the frames. Mm-hmm. And in this book, it seems the action happens between the dialogue balloons. Like in a particularly egregious example, when I believe the boys are trying to get the horses across the ravine. There's one panel where like he says, well, I'm going to do it. And then the next panel is like, I wouldn't believe that he had done it, but also he's gotten 3 over. And then there's more dialogue, and it's very tell not show. Yeah,
and they do a very bad job of duplicating, like you said. Like there's tell don't show, but there's also them doing something and describing what they're doing, or even worse, the narrator butting in and telling you exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah. No, and it works in the sense that it felt like a Dark Tower book, because that was those would be the words that you might see on a page. Mm-hmm. But I don't, and so I'm knocking Peter David here, but I think it also has to go on to the artist as well, because I believe they draw the panels first and then write the words. Mm-hmm. The kinetics seem off.
I would agree. It just seems like they're not really communicating with each other. I have no idea what the actual work process was like, but like it just it doesn't look like one side knows what the other is doing a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I might maybe Peter David and what is it Jay Lee didn't quite work together or something. Yeah, because I looked up, Jay Lee also had done a lot of Marvel things, but it seems mostly in terms of like covers. Yeah. And they all have this kind of same kind of hyper realistic look. Yes. I'm not super a fan of that in general. And Richard has all the stuff that he has colored looks pretty much like this as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It bears their mark. I've looked at the other stuff as well. It's like, oh yeah, that could just be kind of dragged over and swapped out. So to the art's credit, just so I'm not dumping on them, when it's clear that they had free reign to just say like, okay, draw a fantastical landscape, here inside the world of the grapefruit, or like just draw a scene of Gilead or the nearby place with like these gigantic tree houses and stuff like that. Like when they can work on surreal scenery and kind of these broad, kind of weird vistas, it works really, really well.
Yeah, it almost is like someone said, I want you to give me 23 paintings. Yeah. And we'll go from there. I want 23 panels.
Right. And on the panels where people are talking, like we'll just put kind of a color gradient behind them. Like it's a CAD comic.
I'll defend that a little bit in that I think it, especially in Gilead, lends this kind of ethereal quality to the world. But no, is it my favorite? No, like it's still kind of all right. That's good gradient there, guys.
Yeah, you really chose a good pace for it to go from one color to another.
Yeah. I mean, it's real smoky in this room, but like,
yeah. So the art for me is something I kind of had to tough through. I'm here for the story, which is fine. I will say, a couple of arcs on, when they change up the personnel, they end up doing a lot of really good stuff. Like the art specifically in the drawing of the 3 adaptation, ends up kind of verging back and forth between being really expressive and then almost impressionistic. It's it's done with I think with a more solid voice than this one is, and also it's easier to read. So yeah, enough like bagging on it. We'll get to the other stuff. A Gunslinger Born, it doesn't make sense to cover that, even though this is a sequel to that, just because we literally just talked about what happened in Hambry and Magus, and that is a very rote kind of retelling. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, go listen. We did an episode of Try This, a Patreon bonus show a while back. I believe it's episode 3, where we talked about the Gunslinger Born. So you can find that on the Duckfeed content store. But as I alluded to before, a lot of kind of varsity Dark Tower concepts are brought in the comics, because I think that they are presuming that you will, begin reading this after you have finished reading the main book, the main series rather. It's not to say that it'll be entirely impenetrable to you, just kind of like, oh, it's a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more cosmic than I expected it to be. But it's definitely there, and it gets a softer introduction later on in the main text.
Yeah, it does kind of like, oh, all right. Especially with, we talked about getting inside the grapefruit. So why don't we get there? Because we get there soon enough, right?
Yeah, we do. So let's jump in. And this is something, I'm sorry, I need to do one more thing. People who are listening to this and haven't read the comics, one detail is that when the story gets to the Battle of Jericho, Roland remembers to pick out the Horn of Eld. This is important for cryptic reasons, and that'll let you know what's going on with this series. So, starting with The Long Road Home, these are separated into issues and chapters. It begins with a real sweet scene of Roland and Susan. They're holding each other and professing their love. Then page turn, Junji Ito smash cut. Oh, he's holding her charred corpse.
Yeah, the real strong start. And I think this is like one of the places where the art kind of works. Because this is this is something that you want to. I assume, I guess the audience is people who have read the books, but also like the books don't go into this, so
no,
it's a doesn't it?
No,
well, I mean the fact that she was burned, but like this particular scene.
Right. So this is kind of a big difference. Roland says, "Oh, I never saw Susan again." He was in the grapefruit from the time that he saw her death. They're starting to play a little bit fast and loose with the details in order to bring a little bit more drama to it, because they need something to fill in the gaps, right? To make this a story, as opposed to what Roland kind of recounted in summary at the very end of the last book.
Oh, unreliable narrator. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, also, like if I'm, you got years beyond this, and I'm talking about how this all went down. Maybe I'd leave out the parts where I got sucked into a hell void while my friends carried me home, and then I spent weeks locked in a room.
Yeah. I mean, it could be explained away by the grapefruit kind of eating his memories after it showed him what it showed him, and he refused it. Right.
Right. Or or he could, I don't know. There's some, hey, maybe you don't tell everyone everything.
Yeah. Hold some of it close to your vest. Although there are details that are revealed to him that are revealed to him again later on chronologically in the book, specifically about the Crimson King. But yeah, this is kind of a main difference. They've returned to Hambry, and Roland wants to take Susan's corpse and give her, give her a burial, but he loses his cool and takes out the orb and starts to fire his gun at it. And it turns out this isn't just an orb. Merlin's grapefruit, the bend of the rainbow, is not just a shiny glass ball that will entrance people. No, it can turn into an eyeball demon and latch onto people.
Yeah. Wow. I was like, that's new. Very Eye of Vecna kind of stuff.
Yeah. You get a little bit of not MODOK. Oh, no. There's some kind of Marvel creature that's an eyeball with tentacles. It was it was like an X-Men Children of the Atom or something like that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Shumagorath. There we go.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Kind of a little baby Shumagorath.
Yeah. Who knows if this is literal or if it's just the way that it manifests, sucking somebody's soul in. If that's part of the glamour or what, but it has Roland inside of it now. It has its soul. And the way this works IRL is, Roland is holding on to it and his eyes are glowing pink when it is kind of activating him and moving him, but otherwise he's catatonic. And inside the ball, he's flying around in a psychedelic pink dreamscape.
Right. And, let's see. Yeah. I'm trying to remember if Martin shows up immediately or.
No, it's the Coffin Hunters.
Oh, right. But,
Yeah.
well, okay. Yes. It is the Coffin Hunters is the first people. Are they the Coffin Hunters? Is the question mark?
Yeah, I think that it's just tormenting him because
Right.
Clay Reynolds is there, even though he's not dead.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's why I thought. Oh, I kind of read that as, oh, it's Martin the whole time.
yeah,
Martin just wants to, get his I don't know, soften him up for the Crimson King, if you will.
possibly just get him shook even more by showing him Susan dying again.
Right.
So he gets his introduction, and Clay Reynolds is actually hot on their heels. Like he ran away. He didn't die in the battle in the tall grasses like everybody else did. But he is chasing after them. Alan gets to shoot his horse out from under him, slowing him down, and thus begins the parade of horse death that is this trade paperback.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but man, like, yeah.
They kill so many horses.
Like, I don't. Oh no, wait, the donkey. No, never mind.
So I don't know what happens to Cappy. Shimi's okay, but Cappy.
Well,
we'll get to Shimi. We'll get to Shimi here in a minute.
yeah.
But the chase is on, right? Like,
right.
Alan slows him down a little bit, but they cross a river and Cuthbert nearly drowns. Should take a moment here. What do you think of kind of the emphasis on the interactions between Elaine and Cuthbert?
So I think this is because you've got a story where your main character is catatonic or kind of being taunted by a bird. I think that's a real simplification, right?
Yeah.
I have the same problem that I had with the Come Reap in that they don't seem 14.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I do get that they're supposed to be, they're quartet. They like each other, and they have gone through the, I guess, well, they were in the frying pan and now they're in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they definitely have a bond that has been forged.
For
Tempered.
sure. Yeah. Yes. This for me is a real selling point for this trade paperback in particular, because I so fell in love with these characters in Wizard and Glass. I just wanted more of them, and there's a lot of just kind of like really quick back and forth that you can tell was a lot of fun to write between them.
Right.
And this kind of lifted even some of the parts of this that felt like it didn't go places quickly. I was just happy to spend time with them.
Okay. So I think I like those characters less.
So
I didn't mind it, but I also they're some of their the dialogue is kind of the worst offenders of the telling, not show.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Cole. I don't like your two boy team.
No, that's fine.
Goof or Gallant and Gallant.
Yeah.
And dumb old Goofus looking in the Merlin eyeball.
Gallant, Goofy, Gallant, and Goofus.
Yep.
No, that's fine.
Gallant uses the touch to draw his friend's soul out of the grapefruit.
Yeah. We should talk about Shimi because he was left dangling in the book version of events. Like, he managed to reunite with everybody and served as their squire for a time, and presumably fell along with Gilead. However, here there's an added little wrinkle, because Shimi is wandering around Hanbury, and he finds this Quonset hut called a Dogan, full of this North Central Positronics technology. Remember North Central Positronics, the same people who made Shardik? Manufactured the Guardians and such. Real important company, mover and shaker in the mythos, right?
Right. And this feels like this gets real weird west, and so
you're gonna love book 5.
Okay, good. It's very, I hate to say Stranger Things because it's not, but there's that one commonality. Have you watched Stranger Things?
Yes.
Cole?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Shimi gets gets all his brain expanded.
Yeah. Like he walks in, he feels bad for this person who's dead. He sees this mummified corpse inside something called the Psychic Enhancer Assistant.
Yeah.
Which is like a, almost like a Cerebro-esque helmet that has a harness and whatever, and like this menacing robot that glows and talks.
Yeah.
He pulls the body out and it sucks him in to take place, and he goes through psychic torture.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what is... I have even more questions, but in a good way. Like, why is this here?
Yeah.
Why did they stop using it? Is Shimmy is it like because of something unique about Shimmy? Is it like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It like did they have this back in before the things got bad? Then I can see why things got bad.
Yeah. I mean, remember in the Wastelands, they were talking about how the old ones, they wiped themselves out by finding and doing something even worse than nuclear war, right?
Right.
Like this is definitely a vestige of, some of the old tools that were left laying around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, Shimi, is zapped and tortured, and we're going to see him after the end of chapter 2. And we'll get back to it because it gets real strange what happens with him.
It ends on a cliffhanger where he's just like, oh, then the robot activates and it's got glowing eyes and kind of this gun looking thing pointing at him. And you're like, oh, yeah, oh boy.
Yeah.
But Stephen King and the magic of children, he's fine.
Yeah. At least this child isn't latently psychic.
Right.
Like he went through something that activated and awakened something in him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually he just has them start out that way. So
yeah.
Roland in Orb World is visited upon by a crow who prefers to be referred to as a raven. They are different things, and it wants to insist on that. Turns out this crow is none other than Martin Broadcloak, also known as Randall Flagg, also known as any number of these other kind of things. Here to kind of lord over Roland that he has gotten himself into a world of shit. Roland has definitely wandered into Orb World, which happens to be at least partially Martin's world.
Right. And there was a really good quote, by my pin feathers you actually think you cannot be controlled, that you have free will. Very much like Roland is not in control in here, and even though he's like, I'm going to resist you, you dumb crow, like, no, like Roland is very much nothing that he does in this world actually matters. It really is on his friends on the outside to save him.
Yes. And he's making things more difficult because not only is he dead weight, he, kind of comes alive and kicks and screams and, like, I guess chases after an imaginary rabbit. And that's what dogs do when they're sleeping, while they're trying to get him around. Namely, when Cuthbert and Alan reach this canyon that we talked about before, this poorly written canyon, crossing the usual rickety bridge crossing that happens in every piece of media. One of their horses breaks a leg, so ding, horse number 2, done.
Yeah. Well, they got 2 across. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, no, I was referring to Clay's horse from earlier. Yeah.
Oh, right,
yeah.
right.
See, I'm counting total horse.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Total horse. Yeah. But I mean, Cole, like 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Like
they just had to pay the toll. They had to pay the poorly written canyon with a horse. They defeated a horse. This canyon, I don't know, little mark is probably my least favorite part of the book. It's like, okay, this is where we get the phrase the phrase before you see the canyon, and then the next panel says, what is it? Very Silver Age reminds me, I'll be damned, he actually managed to get 2 horses across already, but the third, his own mount, always was the most skittish of the 3. And like, okay, and this is all this is on a close up of Elaine and Cuthbert as he's holding Roland. Yeah,
not showing Elaine getting the horse across at all.
Yeah.
The interesting part of the action.
No, let's just show you the result. Yeah. So Elaine, is carried over the fox, he's carried over the corn, he's going back to get the chicken, which is Roland. And as he is carrying him, this is when in Orb World, the Raven grabs him and starts, flying him toward End World, right? And Roland kind of comes alive and starts kicking and screaming and making things really hard for Elaine.
Well, I mean,
by really hard, I mean it's a momentary inconvenience.
Yes, it's stop it.
Yeah, this gets worse later.
Yeah.
when Roland nearly kills them a couple of times from this.
Yeah, I guess this is like in terms of like all the times that he causes trouble, like nobody is in it, like nobody actually gets hurt. It's just you get the improbable, I'm going to grab this orb, then jump up, then also grab this. I'm confounded by the series of events that take place.
Yeah, it's not very clearly conveyed. Let's say that.
But everyone somehow gets across.
Yeah.
It's somehow.
And they say, hey, why not? Let's cut this bridge. And Clay Reynolds is effectively taken out of the picture. He's not killed. His death will come later. But they basically break the chase because it's the only crossing for miles and miles, or wheels and wheels, such as the case may be.
Yeah. I think they say miles.
They go back and forth. One is the archaic. I think miles is the archaic, and then wheels is what the others, what the people can after the world moves on.
Nope, it says miles. Huh.
Ah, cool.
Breaking continuity.
No, I mean, no, it's yeah, it makes sense for people from Inworld to say miles.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. No,
yeah.
You see, when you hit the third rib of the magical rib xylophone, it plays an E.
I hope somebody got fired for that blunder. Yeah. So this chapter ends with Shimi's enhancement being complete. Presumably, he was being zapped in a Quonset hut for hours and hours as this was going on. Good.
Did you read? You read that as hours? I just read it as Okay. Well, maybe you hate Shimi more than I do.
I don't know. Like it bookends this entire thing, and yeah, I have no idea what the actual course of events is, because Shimi, true to the machine's nature, he's had his psychic enhanced, and he now has mysterious and otherworldly powers. He doesn't quite know what is happening, but it is so much a part of him that when he reaches the canyon, he and Cappy just bamf across it.
Pulling a Nightcrawler.
Yep. And Shimi ends up being, well, we're going to get to it, because what Shimi does at the very end of this story is fucking badass.
Right.
In the cosmos of this.
So this is, I do like this. Psychic powers are just, you're so powerful, you don't really realize it, but also you don't really care. Like, this kind of works for me as, this person is now alien.
Yeah.
I again just wish it was on a different character.
Yeah, he's still. I was about to say the same sweet Shimi, which I understand that sounds like it could be a euphemism. I'm not using sweet to refer to his mental condition. I'm using sweet just to say, like, he's still, when he finds the quartet, he is very concerned about them. He wants to save and help his friends, and that loyalty will always be the arrow to my heart that Shimi can fire.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree on Shimi. That's fine.
Yeah, no, no, Cole, no. You're in my realm now.
Yeah. Chapter 3, speaking of being in somebody's realm, opens back up with Martin showing Roland kind of these visions of himself in the future. This is where we get kind of these, like, I don't know, the poster for the Phantom Menace glimpses of the Roland to come, where it's Kid Anakin, but he's casting Darth Vader's shadow.
So is this Oi here?
I'm not going to tell you. It's a Billy Bumbler.
Oh, okay. Man. No, that's fine. It's probably better that you don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, who else could it be?
I mean, it's a whole species.
Right. So, yeah,
you're not going to pin me down. I know it's ridiculous, but you're not going to pin me down on how it is, because I don't want to take that away from you.
Okay, cool. So right now, I
is,
suspect it's Oi.
yeah, this is a scene that was shown to us in the book itself when Roland touched the orb at the top of the canyon. You know,
Right. This is where, like, they tell him, yeah, you're going to sacrifice your Katet one by one.
Yeah.
Is-
Yeah, that's that scene. And this is a part of it. Like, Martin is trying to basically convince Roland that he was never sane, saying like, yeah, you know, like, you've always been saying you just dreamed that you've always been insane. You just had a dream that you had it together, and this is the horrible future that awaits you. You know, so this is where you will die, either, you know, here in the orb or when you actually get to Endworld and find us. And
which is that seems weird because Martin has this vision of the future, but also, you know, he's very actively trying to kill Roland at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
yeah.
What is true? What is not?
Martin is always a free agent, is the thing. Even if right now he is serving the Crimson King, which he does by picking Roland up and just flying him along the path of the beam, you know, to Endworld itself. IRL Roland or IR Roland. In real Roland, you know, wakes up, continues to struggle. They say, hey, this can't go on. Elaine can't, or Alan cannot touch Roland to draw him out. So he decides, hey, I'm going to have to go Toadash to reach him. I'm going to have to basically use the latent psychic powers of the touch to kind of try to make it into the world of the orb itself. I forget, has Toadash been mentioned in the in the books as of yet that you've read?
I don't know if the word Toadash, like, we know that he has the touch.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they've said Toadash though.
Yeah. I've referred to beasts from the Toadash space in between. Basically, it's something that's introduced in book 5. To go Toadash is to somehow move from one level of the tower or the other, or from one level of the tower to the other, or from one realm into the other, just through a massive expenditure, either a massive expenditure of psychic energy on your part, or by being close to like really powerful objects. And the danger is that if you mess up, you end up in the space between, where you would be devoured by any number of these monsters, namely like the monsters in The Mist. If you have seen or read that, those are Toadash monsters.
Okay, so it all kind of gotcha. It
all kind of fits together.
It's a universe.
Yeah. So Alan's like, yeah, I'm going to go after him. And all he's able to do is just kind of grab onto Roland's legs as they are flying along. And meanwhile, Cuthbert, being the only person awake, has to fight off a mutated wolf.
Yeah, this is horse death number 3. Yep.
Ding. Only one horse left.
Oh boy, they got big hopes for this horse.
Yeah, he's gonna make it. I placed a bet on this horse death pool. Yeah. What'd you think of the design on this muty wolf?
I think I don't like it, but I think it's a good thing. Like I think it's revolting, which I think might have been the artist's intent.
This style, and this sounds like a burn on the artist, and I got all my burns in. It's not meant to be. This style seems very well suited to drawing this kind of monster.
Right. It's not supposed to look right.
Right.
It very clearly kind of like, oh, you can tell this is a wolf, but like
is something that at one point was near a wolf.
Right. Yeah. This is it. Like at some point, it kind of almost looks like a person wearing like a wolf skin. Even I'm actually looking at the picture where he's kind of bent really backwards in his gunslinger stance, and the wolf just looks like, it's almost like doubled over like a human that's been shot.
Yeah. It's real.
So,
it's real unnerving.
Yes. It's very metal.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Is it metal? Yes. Yes, it is. Martin zaps Alan, kind of sending him flying, right?
Yes.
into this kind of like long plummet while oscillating back and forth between worlds. Or IRL Roland, animated by the orb, just decides to get up and says, "I've had enough of this," and then just kills the wolf with his bare hands. He Steven Seagal breaks its neck.
Yeah, that feels, like, and that, so I interpreted this. This is not something that Roland did. This is something that Martin was like, "I'm not done with him yet, you stupid wolf. I'm annoyed, and I'm going to deal with this."
Yeah, it's either Martin or it's the orb, which knows that it is feeding on Roland, and if all of them die to this wolf, then it has no way to get to its next source of food. Right? Like the orb has an agency. It's not just a vessel for Martin itself. It is a demon in and of itself. So I could see it taking over a host to act in self-defense like that.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly it's not going to save the rest of his quartet, but it'll protect Roland, which is kind of cold comfort.
Yeah, it won't let his mind die while its body is still in charge of it. Yeah.
Right.
So Alan is saved, and the rest of the wolf's pack arrives, taking us into chapter 4, where Cuthbert commits one of the not like sins, but let's say a party foul of being a gunslinger. He ends up having to use Roland's guns to kill the muty wolves. Right.
And I just want to point out the two-headed wolf looks real cool here.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Fallout Tactics?
No, I did not. That is, I think that and Brotherhood are the two Fallout games that I have not played.
You're fine. But no, there's a unit which is a two-headed cow, and it really evokes.
Oh, it's a Brahmin, yeah.
Yeah, or sorry, two-headed Brahmin. Wow, I think those are in other games.
All of the Brahmin are two-headed.
Is that? Wow, I just
the Brahmin are two-headed cows.
Man, I have definitely put over 100 hours in 3 and 4 in Vegas, and man, I feel bad now.
No, I didn't mean to be a dick and make you feel bad.
No,
that's just my reckon. No,
it's me not remembering this thing that I ostensibly love.
Yeah. Just the whatever happened to the old ones gave everything way too many heads and limbs and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, 2 heads better than 1.
Yeah. Just two times as many necks for them to snap. During the scuffle, Alan gets his arm bit. And he pretty much would die if Shimi didn't approach. But also, Cuthbert shoots him.
Oh man.
Yeah, Cuthbert, thinking it's another wolf, just fires off 2 shots and plugs him right in the chest.
Yeah, it's real, like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
Even I was like, oh, come on.
But Shimi, he takes it like a champ. Like, he doesn't just have teleportation abilities. Like, he doesn't even say, like, oh, I need him. And he says, I'm going to take a nap real quick. He falls over and he, like, psychically heals himself. Gets up and then psychically heals Alan, saying, like, yeah, you were worse off than you would have known. Like, that would have gotten to your heart eventually.
So something, this is probably, like, if the teleporting didn't tell you, something is different with Shimi, because now he knows things he shouldn't.
Right. Yeah. And now that we have Shimi, he might be able to reach Roland again in Orb World. I'm going to keep on saying Orb World until that gets like gets a mention on the wiki. Merlin's Grapefruit, also known as Orb World.
It sounds like the next indie building sim.
Yeah, Orb World.
World.
Instead of being, it's really easy to build with cubes. Those stack really easily. Orbs, no, that's a whole different ball game, my friend.
That's your
that wasn't intentional, but there we go.
Yep. So I want to say here's where I'm introduced, and the rest of the audience, to the Crimson King.
Yes. And he's introduced, or he introduces himself by saying, "Greetings, cousin, greetings and welcome. I am the Eater of Worlds."
Classic, very classic intro.
Yeah, he says, "I am the Eater of Worlds," the same way I say, "Could you please take your shoes off? And also, would you like a bottle of water or some Coke?"
I am the cleaners of these carpets.
But yeah, Martin and Roland finally reach Endworld, and La Casse Roy Roos, where the Crimson King rules from his throne, surrounded by the bends of the rainbow that remain in his possession. And they're talking about, you're going to suffer a fate worse than death. This is not the way the Crimson King looks in the books or his descriptions.
Okay.
However, he is a shapeshifter.
Okay.
And that is part of the thing of just the way he kind of articulates. But regardless, what do you think of this kind of initial first impression of the Crimson King?
So it's a real, I guess, Haster moment. Who's the King in Yellow? Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously it seems like King is drawing from that, but it's never quite as good as it is in your mind, but this is a pretty good King and Crimson King, yes. I think.
Yeah. I like his pot belly.
Yeah, like corpulence is a good word for this.
Yeah, because he's cannibalistic. Like he devours all. He is not just the eater of worlds, he's the eater of whatever happens to be in his way. And I like that is portrayed. Like, he would have a big old gut if he was going around eating his enemies, right?
Yeah, he looks like he's well fed, but also starving. Yes. And I like that look.
Yeah.
He seems fragile and strong, and it's that real contradiction that makes it scary.
Yes. And he offered, like he says, hey, I need you to bow to me. And Roland doesn't, because he hasn't quite grasped the way that this works. And Martin turns into a crow and attacks his abdomen until he is forced to bow just to protect himself.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like Star Wars, except maybe if Luke wasn't very good.
wasn't very good, like wasn't very morally upright, or wasn't very competent.
No, like he was the Luke who was looking into the lightsaber.
Oh. Yeah. I always forget about that Luke.
Yeah. They're like, I want to go to Tashi Station, Luke.
Yeah. Oh man, just a shitty little kid Luke. Shitty teenager right. Luke. Yeah. So the Katet, they say, hey, Shimi, you seem to have some stuff going on. Can you go into the orb and get rolling, because it's beyond our power? And Shimi looks into it for a little bit. He sees like this cutout of a donkey, like in a pillar by where Roland is. And this is ridiculous. It almost looks like an Animorphs cover, except instead of turning from one thing into another, it turns from a full-size Shimi and Cappy down to a miniature Shimi and Cappy inside the orb.
Yeah, it's
he shrinks down and physically enters the orb, as opposed to sending his soul. Yeah, Orbamorphs. But yeah, he goes in, and Cuthbert says, I know it's a cliche, but now I've seen everything.
Yeah,
Wonka.
That's a pretty good. I like that. Yeah. That wasn't. I know.
It acknowledges how ridiculous it is, the thing we just saw, right?
Right. I mean, we literally saw this 13-year-old ride a donkey into a hell world.
Yep.
Inside of an orb.
Yeah.
Sure, that's something.
Yeah.
Also, the illustration of the donkey on the next page is real.
Oh, it's all fucked up.
Yeah, it's good, and I like it, because it definitely just it enhances the ridiculousness of the scene, but also it's
yeah.
I don't know.
He looks like a teleporter accident donkey a little bit. Like, it looks like the corrupting force has kind of like twisted its face, especially.
Yeah. It's that donkey shouldn't be there.
No, the donkey is definitely not as well equipped for this as Shimi is. And this gets us to the climax of this arc with the beginning of chapter 5, where we kind of learn A, what the Crimson King is, and B, what it intends to do. Now, this is, again, really late game stuff. Like, this is something that is explained to the characters in book 7, right?
Okay, yeah, I figured. Like, it seems like, oh, okay, you're just going to drop that? All right, sure.
But we got to talk about it because it's here. And
no, it's fine. It's
Yeah. So, going all the way back to the times of Arthur Eld, the Grand King who kind of started all of in world, ruled over all world, this legendary figure. In his time, few women were fertile. He managed, however, to sire a child with a human woman, And that kind of started the bloodline that reaches down to Roland, the bloodline that rules over Gilead and World, etc.
Right.
Starting the Gunslingers. But he had a side piece. He was out there, he had some spares going on. And one of those spares was a demon of the Prim. Again, these, monsters from unformed space. The Prim was the chaos that kind of presided before the Dark Tower was brought in to bring order to the worlds. Stuff like that. But he had sex with this demon, the Crimson Queen, and this resulted in the birth of a half-human, half-shape-shifting demon, that is the Crimson King. Can't even reveal his true form. He pulls that whole trick, right?
Right. I really like I really like how we've mashed together like kind of Arthur and Adam and Eve and Lilith in kind of this weird, like you kind of get the shape of this myth, but like it's not quite right around the edges,
right?
Which is kind of like, oh, that's real. What this kind of the aesthetic of all these books have been, right? Especially like every time they say the man Jesus, but like that real. I don't know why that really works for me, but it does.
It's taking pieces of that story, but also saying, hey, this exists. Like,
right.
Hey, this this is something that happened elsewhere. It is both like canonical and also like a part of this fiction.
It's I know it's not actual truth, but it's you mix in a little bit of truth into a lie, and then both get a little stronger.
Yeah. So the Crimson King himself, he's like the Cain figure, right? He feels usurped by the line of Eld, and saying like, "Hey, I'm the actual son of Eld.
Right.
This is my birthright. You are just this distant, X number of cousins, however many removed. So it is up to me to disassemble the universe, return it to the state, before the Prim receded, and then feast on that chaos and let my brethren out so they can feast as well. And what he wants is Roland's gun, which will let him into the tower so he can bring it down.
Yeah, that seems awfully mundane. I was like, oh, you just, all right, here it is.
Yeah, but that's his gambit, and he asks for cooperation. He's like, hey, come along, we can rule over the nothingness together.
Yep. Come on, shitty Luke, let's go.
Give me your gun, damn it. I don't think his gun is with him in here though, so I don't think he can just take it.
Yeah, I think the universe is safe for another day.
Yeah. But Roland's like, dog, you're insane. And that leads the Crimson King to attack.
Yep.
I love this line. Did you take a note of this? This will not be a good death, Roland. It will be meaningless and wasted and extremely painful.
Yeah, that was also I did notice that, and that is a pretty good line.
This will not be a good death. But Shimi shows up at just the right time, and this is his moment where, out of his love for Will Dearborn or Roland or whatever he's calling himself, lets loose a psychic blast that throws the king back and sends Roland back into his world, leaving Shimi inside.
Yeah, we kind of ambiguous what happens to Shimi there. I've got some theories, but yeah.
It's the last we're gonna see of him.
Is it?
No, I mean for a while.
Oh, okay. So all right, cool. So there's a resolution. I hate it. Yeah, I hate it when there's like these dangling threads, and they're like, we're totally gonna get to this, and then like they don't. Yeah,
that is not a fault of this series. That he ties things together almost to a Kojima-esque extent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So metal Shimi.
But yeah, they have their reunion, and Roland agrees, hey, I'll let you guys sleep. I'm done with all that orb business. Here's them storing, and then decides, I'm going to keep a watching this orb.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what the cool kids would say about orbs and like BRB, watch Orbin and chillin'. Orbin chill. Yeah. Jeez, that's terrifying.
Oh God. Let's waste away together. Yeah. So
and watch Netflix.
Yeah. They get back to Gilead. find the town in mourning because, oh gosh, these 3 young princes of Gilead have died in a far off land. No, actually, that was just Farson spreading lies to get them all bummed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, we made it back. Cool.
Did you find anything? Is there anything that you would that you
no,
would
Cole,
want?
no, Cole, no, there's nothing.
No,
Nope,
just
not a thing.
No, so just like souvenirs. I think I remember mentioning
I mean,
like
no.
a grapefruit.
No,
Must have.
I would have remembered. Did you remember a grapefruit?
No, it must have been a bad lead. Well, I'm just real. I'm happy you're not
bye.
dead.
I'm going to go lock myself in my room forever.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Why are you in the bathroom for so long?
God, I'm reading BuzzFeed.
Yeah. Roland doesn't hand over the orb like he promised the others he would. Instead, he is looking into it and it ends saying the Roland that everybody knew is never coming back.
Yes, I see how much would have been too much of a goody two shoes because I would have been like, yo dog, what about that orb? Tell your dad about that orb?
Yeah. Or just say, it was a tough trip, but I think we all came back as really well-rounded people.
Yeah, I don't think we have a ball.
Yeah,
but
it's not something you get a lot of opportunities to do, to face your greatest fears. I'm sorry, your greatest fears. Yeah, greatest fears. Fears. There.
Circles infinitely stacked.
Yeah. And that's the end of the long road home, taking us into Treachery, which is its name is accurate. There's a lot less action in this. Yeah,
I think I like the characters better in this next one, but the plot gets a lot less cosmic.
Yeah.
And a lot more, I don't want to say conventional. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean it's like palace intrigue and stuff like that. It becomes more of a story of the war between Gilead and Farson's forces, right?
Right. So I'll ask: do any of these characters show up later, or are these characters an invention for Treachery, or for the comic? I guess.
Yeah. So Eileen is a character that is mentioned in passing in The Gunslinger.
Okay.
Stephen Deschain's quartet, like the people that he travels and fights with, they are mentioned, but not so much by name, I don't think. It is just alluded to that it's like him and Alan and Cuthbert's dads.
Okay.
That he like rolls with. And then there are there are 2 other gunslingers that are like part of Roland's class, Jamie DeCurry and also like Thomas. I forget Thomas's last name. He doesn't factor in later, but Jamie ends up being a kind of companion character in The Wind Through the Keyhole. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it seems like they've got. I enjoyed. Because when we also talked about what was it? The Stand. I saw a couple echoes with what happened there with Martin and a mom, Roland's mom.
Yeah.
Which it seems like he's got a playbook and he's sticking to it.
Yep. He does. He does enjoy trying the same plan a lot and seeing if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But.
And we're still kind of firmly within the bounds of things that were summarized at the end of Wizard and Glass, right? This picks up like right after they get back from Magus. It might just be a span of a couple of days, and it goes up through the death of Gabrielle.
Right.
Yeah. So this opens up. We see this glorious kind of vista of Gilead in its prime. And we got some trainee gunslingers who are being real shitty about Cuthbert and Elaine getting their title, which is like high schoolers are shitty anyway, so whatever. But like they huck rocks at them and defile their property, calling them cheaters. Like we saw what they went through. It's much better than getting the shit. I mean, it's much harder than getting the shit whacked out of you by an old man with no ears.
Yeah, Jesus. I mean, I knew he didn't have ears, but also, Jesus.
Yeah, he's real fucked up.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. Like, kids are shitty.
Yeah.
I was a shitty kid once. I never threw a rock. Well, shit, did I?
I mean, I never threw a rock at somebody. There were definitely warning shots, especially if somebody was standing next to like a street sign. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've definitely thrown a rock at a street sign.
Yeah. Just to rattle somebody's cage, you know. I've never actually fight them. And Alan doesn't want Cuthbert to, get into a fight. Cuthbert leads Alan away because, right. It wouldn't be good if on the eve of our coming of age, you just wallop the shit out of your classmate.
Yeah, these are remarkably mature 14-year-olds. But then again, also they've been through some shit. So maybe like, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, battle tested.
Right.
Water off a duck's back. Roland still hasn't handed over the grapefruit. He is looking into it. Even when Cuthbert and Ellen come by, and he's looking real bad. Like he's got he's got kind of like veins all over him.
It
looks like an evil character from Fable.
Oh no, he's using bows and sneaking around.
How dare he?
Yeah.
He'll grow horns eventually.
Right.
But,
his scar will start glowing molten magma.
But both Cuthbert and Elaine are like, yeah, we probably we definitely want to respect his privacy or whatever. But
yeah, that seems like incredibly the wrong call.
Yeah. You want to save your friend, don't you? Especially because he's inside Orb World,
right.
And he's hanging out by the tower.
Cole, if I dragged you out of Orb World and then you immediately went back in, I don't think I would react in this like, let's give him some time.
Especially like since you went to extreme lengths and put yourself in a lot of danger to drag me bodily across a continent.
If I had to kill 4 horses to drag you out of an orb,
if I had to kill
an army of horses,
orb,
mister. Say what?
Get your ass out of that orb.
Yep.
We've said orb too much now.
Oh no. It's coming.
Inside, we summoned it. Inside the ball, Roland is at the foot of the Dark Tower in the Scarlet Field of Cancano Ray. And it is speaking to him. It's talking about the order of things and how it is corrupted, and we kind of see it either begin or over the course of a couple of panels go from looking like a tower to looking like a big pillar of corrupted meat.
Yeah, it's very things are rotting.
Yes. Even the roses in the field around it are kind of like wilting in this gigantic wave extending out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is not the actual field and the actual tower. It's the Crimson King, again, creating this illusion. He attacks from above. Again, he has been rebuked by Roland. And Roland is barely able to escape and throw the orb across the room before he dies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like.
And that's his wake-up call.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of chances here, buddy.
Being pounced on by a literal Spider-Man.
Not the Miles Morales kind.
No. Poor Peter.
Yeah, or Peter. Yeah, he's running a company now. Oh, it's fine.
I thought you said poor Peter. Okay.
Oh no, I said what? Oh yeah. Never mind. Nope, that's it.
Yeah. So yeah, the focus of the story then shifts over to a story that I would actually really like to read. Like if he has one more of these books in him, I want to hear the adventures of Stephen Deshane and his quartet. But they're out with this scout named Justus, Justus. And they head off this small band of Farson's forces. Everything goes fine, except one of them tricks them into coming up to closer, boom, grenade.
Boom. Yeah, it's I don't know. It seems like they were before the quartet attacks. They were like, well, maybe we should things aren't going great, guys. So
should we probably just hightail it out of here, just scoot? You think?
And then then kaboom. oldest trick in the, well, no, not oldest trick. Can't be the oldest trick in the book because hand grenades aren't that old.
No. Well, they are.
Books definitely predate hand grenades.
True. However, in this world, the hand grenades are definitely from the world before.
Right.
Yeah. And this character that we were just introduced to, a character that, we just had no inkling of, turns out he's no good.
Right.
This Justice ends up being one of Farson's men, and he even betrays one of his own spies.
It's a triple cross.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, now it's a double cross.
Yeah.
Soon it will be a triple.
No, I think it goes down. It starts out as a triple, then it's a double, then it's a single as he as he knocks more people out. Yeah. Chapter 2 has Cuthbert and Alan doing their target practice. They got Jamie to Curry and Thomas Whitman. There we go. Look like the sampler. They're out doing their target practice, shooting at a buffalo skull that is labeled Farson, talking about how they hate wasting ammo on training. Yeah,
it's a little on the nose, but I think this is just to I can never pronounce it. Eileen.
Yeah,
Eileen. This is more about Eileen, her characterization and how she wants to be one of those girl gunslingers
that certainly exist.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they? Well, yeah. I mean, we've seen at least one of them already, right? With Susan.
Susanna.
Wow, Susanna. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry. I'm bad with names.
No, it's fine.
But yeah. No, like so. Yeah, like they clearly exist, though. I guess in Gilead they don't.
No,
still very
not
patriarchal.
Yeah, definitely not this time. And this gets into some of the weird, people hate when we go on about the gender politics of this stuff. This comic and this kind of the whole series, the whole run is not especially kind to women. Especially Roland is far angrier at his mom in this than he is in the actual book itself.
Okay.
And there is there's a risk with Eileen's character that it ends up being a real kind of rote, almost Mary Sue kind of thing. And you would say, oh, this is edging into fan fiction territory. If it was just a couple of chapters and turns out girls can be gunslingers too, if they change the words of the oath to mother instead of father.
Right.
If it was just that, it would be a real kind of whatever. I'm making a, jerk off motion right now. But Eileen is carried through for basically the rest of this arc up until Roland, goes off on a solo journey. Okay.
Yeah. So far I like her. I like this character. I like her motivations.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like she's she can shoot a gun. It's not like she's also the best gunslinger ever. It just seems like she's fairly competent. Yeah. So
yeah, and she comes by it honest because she is Court's niece. She was taken in after her parents died in a battle with Farson's men. Further out on the arc, and she's watching along, kind of enviously. They all get to basically go out and risk their lives and die in battle for their kingdom, and shoot guns. She has learned all this from self-defense for Court, and she knows that she is as good as any of them. So, right. We see her steal the key and sneak into the armory, dress up like a gunslinger, and walk out to the practice field.
Yeah, and then of course we get the pantsing scene right here. Perfect timing.
Yep.
I wish the action in here's where the action, the lack of clarity in the art really kind of, this could be a real funny scene.
Yeah.
But I don't quite get what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely funnier in summary. And I'm not saying that we're funnier than what happens here. It's just it is a prank that some guys would play on their friends. That's real mean. The others, they see Eileen coming and they say, hey Cuthbert, I bet you can't nail this difficult shot left-handed with your right arm strapped behind your back. And he's like, all right, well, fuck you. I can totally do that. Here, I'm going to take off my belt so you can strap my arm behind my back. This causes his pants to fall right when Eileen comes up.
Yeah. I mean, we're tighter. I mean, also, are your pants? My pants aren't that loose, but maybe I'm just a big fat guy.
I don't know. It's It's just, pantsing is funny.
Yeah, it is. I've been on both sides.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. Although that episode of The Office is mortifying with the pantsing in it.
Jesus. Yeah. There are. Yeah. I won't speak for the entire run of The Office, but I think there are some moments where they're just like that chef kiss emoji.
Yep. So Cuthbert, instead of lashing out at everybody, he specifically lashes out at the guys, saying like, all right, we're going to throw down, time for a standoff. Eileen's like, oh, well, why, I'm the one who embarrassed you. Why don't you want to shoot me? And he fires off some sexist trash like, oh, you're just a girl, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And she, to prove like, oh, I'm not just a girl, she shoots the belt out of his hand.
Yeah. Some real precise shooting there.
Yeah. But, also some real good playing with guns.
Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
Running with scissors, playing with guns. The world has moved on, Cole.
Yeah. It's like, I grew up with guns in the house, and the thing that you never do is ever look at, touch, or be in the same room as a gun.
Well, the thing they're outside, Cole. They're not in a room.
True. Okay. Yeah. So, that's kind of where this leaves off right now. Stephen, cut back to the older quartet. Stephen has saved Charles' life. The person who jumped on the grenade to take one for the team. He pulls a Rambo and pours gunpowder into his gut wound and cauterizes it by igniting it.
I don't think that would work.
No,
just throwing that out there.
No, well, they're talking about like, oh, I can't stop the bleeding because parts of him are missing.
Yeah.
Would that I could take off parts of my own flesh to seal his? I would do it, but I can't.
So let me blow you up. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like, it works in Rambo because wait, does he do it with gunpowder? I know he used a hot poker to do it.
I've never seen Rambo. That is.
Oh yeah. It's fine. It's real slow by today's standards. Brian Denny, he's good at it.
All right.
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe that this classic film is good.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm so incredulous.
Okay, wait a minute. So you're telling me. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Justice, meanwhile, as they are riding away, says like, yes, as part of my scouts, like Farson's men are far closer than we had suspected. Like their fingers are edging into our territory, and pretty soon the fist is going to come slamming down. So
I've got this panel here. What's going on with his arms?
I don't know. So there are two body parts that in this art style really come across quite poorly. I don't know what frame specifically you're referring to, but I know in specific. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, but yeah, he's. It looks like he's got 3 fingers. And I don't know. It's this particular panel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks real. Looks real malformed. Yeah, arms, hands, and specifically mouths, especially when mouths are closed.
I would agree with that.
A lot of characters, when their mouths are closed, they're drawn with like wavy lips. It looks kind of like when your grandma or your grandpa didn't have their teeth in.
I'm zooming in on some mouths now. I'm like, oh yeah, that's.
Yeah. I don't know what that's supposed to convey. I don't know that I've ever seen that elsewhere outside of like scary stories to tell in the dark.
You know what? That's the kind of the style that this is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but not quite terrifying enough, but also yeah, like there's a lot of shading in this to hide detail.
Yeah. Back with Eileen, she stops herself from crying over Cuthbert's remark. She knows that she's capable. She knows that she's as good as any of them. And this chapter ends with her reciting her own version of the gunslinger oath. We've seen this happen in the series before. We saw when Susanna did it. Mm. Now you got me messed up.
I know. Aha.
We saw when Susanna did it. She changed the oath to match her own. But here, Eileen is switching out mother for father. And one of her shots manages to split the skull of Farson. not Farson's skull, but the skull that represents Farson.
The buffalo skull named Farson.
Yes.
Former skull now, I guess. No, I don't know.
Is
a skull still a skull if it's all broken?
The skull of Theseus, if you eventually replace the plates, is the Chapter 3 begins with Roland's mom, Gabrielle. She's been sent away, kind of in exile, to repent for her sins, for, betray not just her husband, but the king of the kingdom. She's in a nunnery in Debaria. We're going to go there in The Wind Through the Keyhole.
Oh, okay. Because, I was like, I want to go. I was about to say, I kind of want to hear more about this monastery. It's got the animals and the like this strange religious order that worships the tower.
Yeah, the Order of the Rose. Yeah,
this place seems cool. So okay, cool. We're coming back.
Yeah, like Debaria is like a mining barony that just happens to have this this monastery in it, or nunnery, or abbey. Church, god place. It has this god place in it.
Nun holding cell.
This nun box. So a sister goes in and says, "Hey, Gabrielle, why don't we go see the friar?" Turns out the friar is Martin in disguise. This guy, he gets around, he's got his doors, right? They embrace under a stained glass image of a rose. The betrayal is not done. Her heart still belongs to this sorcerer.
Oh man. Yep. It's a neat, I don't know. It's Martin's doing the same, taking that same play again, but I like the art. I like the kind of the reveal here.
Mm-hmm. Well, he pulls back his cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this whole thing.
Yeah.
I like this. I hope we go back.
Yeah. I like Gabrielle. I think that there's more to that character that is not really told. I don't like that in this portrayal she just kind of ends up being a pawn for Martin.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, this is her arc.
Yeah.
We're gonna get through it real fast.
Yeah. Back in Gilead, Court, goes to Eileen and says, "Hey, what's the deal with you stealing these guns? That's a really, really bad thing to do, especially since I'm the thing standing between people and the guns." And he can't be harsh with her. Court's actually a really big softie.
Yeah. I thought this conversation was totally going to go in a different direction, but it was like, hey, you're supposed to marry the king's son. And like, well, I don't want to. I want to be a gunslinger. And I thought, like, well, you're going to do it. And like, okay, you can be a gunslinger. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that line. Like, why can't you just wear skirts like everybody else? Just, well, if they're so great, why don't you?
Yeah.
But
this seems somewhat out of character for Court, but I don't know. Maybe we haven't seen him interact with his adopted daughter.
No,
either. So
yeah, but he says like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, we just talk with the king, who's going to get back here pretty soon. Cuthbert and Alan, they get more shit for being cheaters, and finally get Roland to hand over the grapefruit again. But not before he gets kind of one last vision of his father in terrible, terrible danger.
I like, because I said I'm a urea.
What?
The urea heads.
Oh,
we get some more Rhea of the Coos.
Yeah. Menacing Rhea of the Coos riding her gigantic spider up their back trail. It's hard to tell. I can't tell if she's riding the spider or if she has sprouted a lower body of a spider in this world or as a result of her powers.
I'm pretty sure it's intentionally ambiguous, and I'm okay with both.
Yep. But we see her riding into Gilead and sneaking up behind Stephen Deshane in his chambers with a garrote, and we also see her holding his severed bloody head.
Yeah.
This is a vision of the future, is what Roland is seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. It's the third time I've noticed it because I'm kind of following along on my Kindle. Like, why do people stand like that in this book?
I don't know.
It's weird. I don't like it. It's worse than the wolves.
Worse than the wolves. Yeah, I think there are only so many ways that you can. Like that has to be that really has to be the comic book artist equivalent of like, okay, I'm acting. What do I do with my hands? Right.
I don't know, because it really feels like an intentional choice to stand like that.
Yeah. Describe the pose that you're saying.
So it's if you were to stand up straight, but then arch your back all the way back, but also keep your feet firmly planted where they are, then raise your elbows up to like I guess breast height, and then put them kind of like back, like you're doing like you're if I don't know, horse stance.
Yeah, it's almost like he's doing like a row or something like that.
It like like it's in the cover, on the cover of this book. It's the same. Eileen is doing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also the head has to be crooked forward, like, so your middle body is you're like an S. It's a weird S shape, and I don't like it.
So it's like hips back, chest out, shoulders back, head forward. And
like the obvious issue is like, oh, okay, if someone's posed a woman in a weird pose, like, okay, that happens in comic books all the time. But like 2 of the 3 times it's guys.
Yeah, it doesn't look natural or comfortable. It's like, who are you posing like that for? If I saw somebody doing that,
like, stop! What are you doing?
Oh man,
you're gonna get scoliosis.
We begin chapter 4. I don't think you can get scoliosis. I think it's something that you just kind of end up with.
Look, the world has moved on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
scoliosis has gone airborne.
Oh no, my bones. Chapter 4. Gabrielle and Martin, they're heading away from the nunnery. She's like, "Hey, where are we gonna go?" And he says, "Go. There's nowhere to run. We need to end this. You need to kill Stephen. Specifically, you need to kill Stephen. Kill your husband, please, ma'am." She says, "Okay, I'll go along with this. Will Roland live?" This is, I think, the most effective piece of visual storytelling in this, as he promises, like, oh, he'll live a long and healthy life. It is just his father that needs to go. And then the next panel at the very bottom of the page is his fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, that's a real good image.
Yeah. Because we know he's also lying, but
yeah, like, it's a real good image, but also like you're like an all-powerful sorcerer. You can just lie.
But
it's fine.
He has a flair for the dramatic,
That's true.
Yeah.
No, I get it, but yeah, like it's like I don't think I've done. Yeah. I've never lied, but also I've never done that. He said, crossing his fingers.
Yeah.
Cole never suspect.
Is this how you lie? Yeah. Roland is still watching Rhea murder his father, and IRL, he decides, well, I'm just going to pick up this gun and fire it wildly into the air, nearly hitting Cuthbert. If Elaine didn't pull him out of the way, he definitely would have killed his best friend. So that's a freebie.
Yeah. Also, I think this is a little bit of foreshadowing about what's about to happen at the end of this arc.
Yeah. We know that that's coming, right? Especially if we've read book 4 and we know that part of Roland's story, that he does kill his mom under circumstances very similar to this. That sense of foreshadowing is really powerful for this, I think. Just because there is that sense of like, doom. We are moving step by step towards this terrible life-changing moment for, our hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are not good times for Roland.
No. Stephen's talking with Justice, and the battle is getting inevitable, right? So he says, "Hey, Charles, my buddy who took a grenade for me, quite literally, you need to go and be with your wife who's about to give birth, because, a battle is no place for somebody who's about to be a new dad. Like, just run, get out, do what you can." Right.
Right.
And into this scene walks Roland with Cuthbert and Elaine to hand over the orb. Right.
Right.
What do you think of Stephen's kind of deal that he gives Roland for this kind of huge transgression?
he does he I thought he got off incredibly like light. Like it seems like, doesn't he just say really nothing happens?
He's, instead of like saying, hey, this is treason, I can't let this stand.
Yeah.
Stephen knows that Roland is not really that big of a fan of his mom. All that he asks is that Roland forgive his mom.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's nepotism, right? Like,
yeah,
very much. It's and like cause I read that like, oh, you have to be nice to your mom. It's haha, funny jokes. But
yeah,
like
I took it as more serious than that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, I was like, don't just like, this is really tense, really fragile. We don't need, like, just please, for the love of God, don't mess this up. Yeah.
I just took this as, I don't know, a father and son interacting, and like, okay, yeah, you eventually came clean. It's fine. No harm, no foul. Also, hey, haha, be nice to your mom.
It doesn't have to be one or the other, right?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
It does seem that Roland's father is incredibly forgiving. I mean, obviously it is the woman that he loves, but also like he's like, it seems like he wants to not, or make like nothing has happened.
Yeah, he doesn't want to confront the gigantic big deal.
Right.
And this kind of gets at the heart of why this betrayal is even possible, right? When Roland tells his dad, like, hey, your wife, my mom, has been sleeping around on you, and he says, I've known for 2 years. What else does he know? Does he know that his wife has literally been sleeping with one of the main lieutenants of Farson? Like, is the treachery that deep? And is he willing to accept that that's what it is, right? Or is that forgiveness kind of a weakness on his part? Yes. I mean, I'm asking that as a rhetorical question, but it absolutely is.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, all this family drama, we get some freaky cosmic drama. Now that he's got the orb, and now the orb is like, so I read this as the orb took some control. He couldn't get him to look into it like he did with Roland, but he can get him to lock it up, but like lock it up in front of justice.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an intentional thing.
Well, I think the orb is is like, okay, I know I need to get back to Farson.
Yeah, I can't use Stephen the way that I did Roland.
Right, but I'll exert some power here.
Yeah,
and I'll make you think like you're in control here, but actually I'm the one who is.
Yeah, I'll lash out. I'll turn into my tentacle form so that you will lock me away, knowing that justice is nearby and will send out the message. Send out the SOS to rescue the orb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. There is a malevolence and a craftiness to this thing.
Right. Like, yeah. And then of course we reveal that, justice is, well, we already knew that he wasn't working for us. I guess
that's a problem with the comic series in general. The way that the Gunslinger Born, like the retelling of Wizard and Glass, is paced, it reveals the same information 5 different times and expects it to be a surprise each time.
Right.
As opposed to the book, which is more of a kind of like slow dance where like it's not a huge revelation, they're just deciding to act on the knowledge in increasingly bold ways, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chapter 5, Roland, he's really kind of throwing a fit. He's lost his fix, right? He doesn't have his drug of choice anymore, and he's finally paying attention to just how much his friends jabber.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, you're jabbering like kids. You're jabbering like girl kids."
Oh,
literal line from the book.
Yeah.
I'm reacting to the text, folks. But they're talking about the upcoming feast. Their coming of age feast. The festival. They're going to be riddles and stuff.
Yeah, like this is like a cool thing that has been we've talked about this riddle stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a real cool festival.
We're going to get to see it in action.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to see how seriously Court takes this.
Yes.
Yeah. The gossip, the real thing, at this feast, they're going to be seated next to the women that they're arranged to marry, right? And the word is that Roland is going to be matched up with Eileen, and Eileen has been sweet on him for, a good long time. And Roland, I was about to say being sulky, but that's kind of not very charitable. Like, he did suffer a terrible loss at a young age. He's still faithful to Susan. Like, he just can't even see past her.
Quite frankly, he's holding up remarkably well. For so if my wife died, then I kicked heroin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would be like, sorry, lady. I'm just not looking for a relationship right now.
I cannot be on your arm for the cotillion.
Yeah. Excuse me, this is powerfully hot today.
This muggy November weather gives me the horribles. Yeah. So he is holding up well, and he goes through the motions, right?
Right.
He's got it mostly together. Gabrielle, meanwhile, is not. She is kind of caught up in this conspiracy. It's up to the observer how much she is, complicit in this, or how much she's just kind of going through as forced. But she goes to meet Justice, and we're introduced to Kingson, this ridiculously designed character.
It's like Clockwork Orange character.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Alex.
It's like a purple Alex.
Yeah, a little bit. He's got kind of hair that's all over the place. It makes sense that he is as garishly dressed and as kind of like out there looking as he is, because he is, coming to Gilead to masquerade as the court minstrel, right? To be the bard. However, he has brought the poison dagger that is meant for Stephen's back. And he is Farson's nephew. Kingson is Farson's nephew. And this is a detail that's alluded to in the book.
And also, isn't Charles, who we mentioned earlier, was basically his whole family was murdered and horrendously tortured in front of him?
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Charles is the one.
The gun.
Yeah. Charles is the one who ostensibly wrote the recommendation for Kingson, saying how he's the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Justice passes along the order saying, hey, after you kill your husband, make sure you grab this orb before you get out of Dodge.
Yeah, gotta grab that orb.
Yeah. Gotta get those riddles. We meet Van A for the first time. Van A is talked about a lot in book one, especially. He's like the kid's mysticism teacher, like mysticism and philosophy. And he is putting his finishing touches on the riddles, right? And Court's like, you get the sense that Court's hanging out outside the room, like he wants to peek at his parents, like wrapping the Christmas gifts, but he knows that would be dishonorable, so he's just kind of hanging around till they're all gone. Right.
Yeah, this is Court's day, right? Because but of course then this asshole shows up and is like, hey, I'm good at riddles. What's up?
Guess what? Old fogies, make way for the new generation. I'm Kingson. Yeah, he's carrying around like a sampling keyboard that has all those DJ noises. Yeah.
What, you heard these riddles? I got some better riddles here. I mean, no, I don't.
No, it's
totally not going to cheat.
It's mostly an air
horn.
And Kingson, after he boasts or whatever, Court watches him swap out Van A's riddles for his own. Right.
So I kind of missed this detail. Why is this just like, a tragic flaw in the character, or is it just, is there a greater meta plot here?
So I think that he's just a dipshit. Honestly, I think that he's just like prideful. Like, this is a way for him to, to try and twist a finger in the wound, There's no real reason for him to do this other than pride. Also, like in book 3, when Roland is describing how important riddles are, he tells a story about somebody, a minstrel who came in and tried to cheat and ended up either hanging or being killed on the spot. This is him. This is the story that he's talking about.
So this is more probably about linking continuity than...
Yeah. It's just taking that character and making him the same as the agent who snuck in the knife who's alluded to at the end of book 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, huh.
Yep. Just economy of characters. Well, I have two when you can have one.
Right. Well, I mean,
And that's not a serious question. I'm just that's
no.
that's
No, yeah.
that's a way to go.
Yeah, it is. It is a thing you can do.
So Court's like, well, why in the world would like Charles seem like a stand-up dude? Why would he recommend this cheating piece of shit?
Yeah.
And in the most horrible moment of the book, we find out why, because Charles was captured on the way to his wife. His wife was captured too by Farson's men. They assaulted his wife sexually in front of him, and then strung him up, tortured him, cut his unborn child out of his wife, held the child up, licked the child clean of blood. Farson did himself through his crazy red mask.
Yeah.
Charles basically went insane from seeing his wife and child killed in front of him, and then they killed him. That's as dispassionately as I could describe that horrible series of events.
Not a lot of note writing in that, though.
What?
But when did he have time to write a note?
I think that they just wrote
it was before. Yeah.
Yeah. Shitty thing, and it's showing you exactly how fucked up Farson is.
Right.
We haven't talked about Farson's appearance in this.
I think there was a panel earlier where he shows up and he looks like a berserker.
Yeah. He definitely he's festooned with blades, and he's wearing this. It's not like a red skull mask, but that kind of hints at the direction where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm zooming in. It does kind of remarkably look like the Crimson King.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Well,
this
also
guy,
his sign is the same as the Crimson King's. Like he is very much marching under the same banner.
Right. And I mean, Martin is known to work with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not a big reveal.
No. Yeah.
But this guy looks like classic D&D barbarian, chaotic evil D&D barbarian.
Yeah. Not afraid to get his hands dirty. I mean, kind of like Stephen isn't really afraid to go out on missions with his men. Like these are both generals and kings who are on the front lines, right? Just in extremely different ways. Yeah. But
one's lawful good. The other, no. Yeah, let's break it down just into those 9. Never mind.
But the party's begun, Murph.
Woo!
Oh man, I wish that I liked this art style better, because I love artistic depictions of like spreads of food in visual media.
Yeah,
especially like video game feasts.
I do not like this one at all.
No, that pig looks a little bit too much like those muty wolves for my liking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talking about, you're gonna love Monster Hunter.
How does it stack up against Final Fantasy 15 in terms of food depiction?
Oh no, like I think I will venture to say that Monster Hunter has the best food depictions in gaming.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Well, I need to play that. It makes me sound like a glutton. I don't think I'm terribly glutton. I'm a glutton for alcohol. I wish there was a word for that. No, but it just like it's funny how they that is something I like. Like people always put a ton of care into how they represent food visually in video games and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's pretty great.
Yeah,
like I think there's definitely more detail going into the food than the monsters,
which is saying something.
It is.
Yeah. We're recording this shortly after Monster Hunter World came out, and I'm keeping Murph from playing it, I presume.
No, it's fine. I had to. No, we're here to talk about the Dark Tower, Cole. And
yes, we are.
Not my insect blade.
Yeah. So Stephen announces, that as part of this succession, the sandalwood gripped revolvers, the guns of Eld, will be handed down to Roland as part of his coming of age. They speculated about this, but this is a big deal. The guns themselves are made out of the melted down steel of Excalibur. Like these are the artifacts that the Crimson King wants to open the
This really, I don't know why this works for me, but this is a trope that whenever it's the dumbest trope whenever you refer to a sword as a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that what was it, the one Romeo and Juliet where it's modern with
the Baz
Claire
Luhrmann
Danes.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in the classic line, "Bring me my longsword," and it's a gun that has the longsword printed on it. I'm like, oh,
So dumb.
yeah, it is so dumb, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's oh boy, yeah. Every time so if you need to write something for me, it better have guns that are swords that are guns, and beautiful depictions of food.
Yeah. You'd love Armored Core. There are a lot of guns that have the names of swords.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm not like a huge Armored Core aficionado. We just played one for WoW.
Right. Yeah. Hey, on the other thing on the flagship of the network.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Afterward, Kingston, after this speech, Kingston goes up to Gabrielle, says like, "Hey, do you have the blade?" She reveals it's up her sleeve, and this is happening. This is happening tonight.
Yep.
And the conspiracy reaches its head in the final chapter, chapter 6.
Yeah, but first we got to get some dancing on.
Oh yeah. Steven's like, "Hey, you know what? This kingdom may be riddled with spies. We may be on the edge of falling, but tonight, let's just boogie."
Yeah, and this is kind of where we find out that Steven has forgiven his wife.
He has. They have a pretty tender conversation while they're dancing. Like, they're feeling each other out and saying, like, are we past this? And he, confesses to her that he still does have feelings for her. Like, it's really vulnerable. Fatally so.
Right. Yeah. I guess this makes what's about to happen even all the more tragic.
Yeah. Because, he says, "If you would like, I would like to have you in my chambers tonight. Really, like, we can push the beds together." That kind of thing. But she has, stolen his key.
Yeah.
And, falsely declared that she loves him. It's really bad. Like, you really feel for Steven in this situation. Roland, meanwhile, he says, "Hey, I will dance with Eileen out of a sense of obligation." He is a wreck, again, recovering from basically his wife dying and the addiction and stuff.
And also not being able to talk to literally anyone about this.
Yes. Yeah. But he opens up to Eileen. Like, he pulls the cardinal sin. Like, you don't talk about your divorce on your first date, It's not that's not
second
good
date
move.
material.
Yeah, it's second date, right? Well, you share that as like maybe biographical information that they ask, but you don't.
Right. Yeah. This is. You don't say, "I guess I could never be with you because I'm still feel like I am cheating on my dead wife."
Right.
Who died last week.
Yeah. I held her ashen corpse in my arms.
Like, yeah, okay. I want to be a gunslinger.
It's pretty. I like this dialogue though, because Roland is pretty frank with her. He says, it's not like I dislike you, given all of this. It's just, this really sucks that we're being forced together.
Yeah.
Like, I dislike the circumstances more than anything.
And you do get the feeling that if circumstances were different, that this would probably have worked out.
Right. In the original draft of the Gunslinger, you remember in Tull, he has kind of a flashback to, a vision of Susan. And, we get the sense, oh, this is a terrible, fated thing. The revised version has Susan, and it works in her eventual demise. In the original, it was Eileen that he was in love with. It was his first love back here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Huh.
So.
Okay. Yeah. So, no, given a different set of circumstances, this could have worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go outside and they talk some more, and Roland kind of gives up his entire thing. He says, like, there is more wrong here than just Susan's death, than just me. Like, look around you. Everything is pretty much terrible. There's a rot throughout the world, and I'm going to go to the tower. I'm going to go to the Dark Tower and set it right.
Yeah.
And Eileen's like, no, that's a myth. But through sheer conviction, Roland makes her go from "that's a myth" to I will be at your side when this happens.
I don't quite get what happens here. Like, I don't know. This is the one part that seems forced.
It seems fast and unearned.
They're finishing each other's sandwiches.
Yes. Yeah. And there's time. Like, Eileen has time to come around to his point of view on this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yep, but oh no, something has happened.
Yeah, people are screaming from inside the ballroom because Court, he pulled out a dagger and stabbed a man in the chest.
I mean, and it's not even Thursday.
Right.
Court stabbing day.
Yep. Oh man, it's really throwing everybody off. The janitors haven't staffed up. No, he's
Right.
killed Kingston for cheating. You know, he waited for basically the trap to spring for it to be revealed that yes, he did change out the riddles for his own kind of like older antiquated ones that Kingston knows the answers to, but Court knows that they're bad ones, so they have two answers.
But also, I think it that seems to be the appearance of why he killed him. But Court already knows, hey, this guy's a double agent.
Yeah, he reaches into Kingston's pocket and pulls out Farson's signet ring.
Court's not a complete psychopath.
No, he's got a good head on his shoulders. A lot of parts of his head are missing, but it's a good head nonetheless.
The parts that are on his shoulders are good.
Yes. The parts that are rotting on the proving ground.
Yeah.
You know, they were okay too.
Right.
So Roland gets a terrible feeling, and this is going to be a very familiar scene.
Mm-hmm.
This happens pretty much just like it happened in the book, saying, hey, I need to go to my dad's room, because he saw this, you know, he saw the vision of Rhea killing his dad. He has no idea what's going to go on. He goes up there, he sees the safe door open, and says, not again, because he knows, oh gosh, my mom is taking the ball. She's going to kill him. Something terrible is going to happen. He finds the orb. It shows him the same vision of Rhea with the garrote sneaking up behind him.
Right.
Turns to shoot, puts 2 bullets in his mother's chest. And her last words to him are the same as Susan's last words. I can't remember if this is the same as the book, but she says, as she falls over, Roland, I love thee. And instead of the garrote, she was wearing the belt she was carrying the belt that she had made as a gift to leave him before she, fled town.
Yeah. Yep. And then we go out on that incredibly tragic note.
An incredibly depressing note. Another loss piled on top of loss, piled on top of, I think, a broader picture than we had in the retelling in the book, that Gilead is closer to the edge than he had ever thought that it would be. Right.
And like, yeah, we are eminently close to this fall.
Yeah. And like the next trade paperback, after we talk about the Wind Through the Keyhole, it's called The Fall of Gilead.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. It's we're going to get to see that. We're going to get to see the battle at Jericho Hill. And we're going to get to see the true and final breaking of his original Kotat, ultimately setting him onto the path that he would be on for, the gunslinger.
Yeah.
As the adventures of young Roland continue. Any final thoughts about this, Smurf?
I think we kind of got it all out during the episode. It's a good story. The art could use some work, but overall, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
So it was a good. I don't want to call it a break from reading words like books as opposed to like I don't know. I can definitely get through a comic book a lot faster than I can a normal book, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a busy man, Cole.
The great part about this for me is that it is a nod that yes, the Dark Tower can work in a visual medium, it's not like anything in the comic book like exactly matched my idea of what all this looked like when I was reading it, but it still feels valid and still feels right and doesn't exactly like nullify the version of this that was in my head. It's terrible when you see an adaptation that puts those things in tension with each other,
Right. I'm trying to think what's a really bad adaptation that I've seen. Well, I know I'll say that something that actually works very well is the depiction of X-Men in the X-Men movies. Like I feel like visually they nailed those characters.
Yeah. This is going to sound like faint praise or whatever, but like my understanding is the Harry Potter movies do this pretty well.
I've Yep. I don't know. I'm not a Harry Potter fan.
Yeah.
I was just slightly too old, which is, I don't know. I'll probably read them at some point.
You're not that much older than me, are you?
I'm roughly Gary's age.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That would have put you at the probably at the edge.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I can't think of an especially bad adaptation right now, but like I didn't even think the Dark Tower movie was an especially bad visual adaptation of what was going on, except for that one town that was all people dressed like modern times, which was not that great,
no.
you know.
Yeah, I avoided that because I heard it was a couple of books ahead of where I was.
Yeah,
so I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, you want to wait until after you've read book, maybe book 6 even.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be on a plane at some point, and it will. Valerian City of the Kingdom of the whatever is apparent. Well, I haven't read the original comic book, but man, it has to be better than that movie. Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets. That's the whole name.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I think that it's easy for me to ignore bad art or whatever. Like as much as it sounds like a sticking point, I'm mostly here for the the broad strokes and the story and stuff like that. And I'm a sucker for the Cosmos stuff. And I don't know that this is especially the best introduction to that stuff, outside of the books, because the books do a very good job of dripping it out slowly to the point where you don't realize how much things are changing until they've changed a lot.
Right.
But
yeah, that's kind of what you want.
Yeah. This is all good stuff. Still more comics for us to cover. That'll be after The Wind Through the Keyhole, which I'm very much looking forward to. That's an amazing book. I've started it again. It'll be the fourth time that I've read it in the past 2 years. So
okay. All right.
Yeah. Holds up every time. You get some good Randall Flagg in that. So
oh man, all right.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that then.
Murph, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, I have a website. It is dinosaursarecool.com.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous of that URL.
It's a real good URL.
It's a very good URL.
There I dabble in some games, both tabletop and video. I have a couple of podcasts. Some of them are active, some of them are not. I don't know, just in some just general weirdness. You can, if you want to at me, you can at me at Dork Night Show, which is the name of my primary podcast.
It's a good Twitter.
Got to get. I don't have the 4-letter Twitter, but it's a word that makes sense.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Cole Ross. That's KOLEROSS. You can watch me stream horror games on Twitch.tv/Duckfeed.tv. Most weekend nights. Going to be adding more streaming stuff to the roster as time goes on here. Really enjoying people come hang out. Otherwise, check out the other shows on the network. And if you want to come meet me in person, I will be at the Midwest Gaming Classic this coming April 13th, 14th, and 15th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. MidwestGamingClassic.com.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wish I was there.
Yeah, it's a good time. Like we're sharing a booth with the Retronauts guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. Those are good guys as well.
Yeah.
Oh, but
cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back with The Wind Through the Keyhole in 2 weeks. Thank you, Murph, for coming on and
my pleasure.
Goofing about orbs. Until next time, long days and pleasant nights.
You twice the number.